Chapter 8, Finding Work-Family Balance. I think that this is a really appropriate chapter for this time in the semester because we are very, very close to the end of the semester, about 2/3 of the way through, maybe even a little bit farther. And this is what I like to call panic time. This is the time when I get to talk my students down off the proverbial ledge. Lot going on in all your classes. Papers are coming due. You're getting ready for exams. All kinds of stuff is going on. Your teachers are beginning to say, we're getting close to the end. I need to finish this. I need to finish that. So a lot of stress going on. Plus the fact that in this particular semester, the end of our term falls very close to the holiday season, which also creates a whole nother set of stressors, right? So this week, our lecture is going to be extremely brief. We're just going to cruise through this a little bit. I'm going to leave it up to you to read your chapter and make sure that you know what's going on so that we can lighten your load a little bit by giving a real quick lecture this week. Okay, you ready? I'm just going to cruise through a couple of these slides. First of all, you need to know what work-family balance means. And one of the things people forget is just because you're single doesn't mean you don't have a family. You do. I mean, you didn't come from under a rock. And even if maybe you don't live near your family, you still have good friends and a familial situation with people who care about you. So I think it's really important that when we talk about this, we always include people who technically may not have their very own family yet. So singles do get included in this, okay? So just know that work-family balance is talking about finding a way to both have a satisfying work life and to be happy in your home life. And it is quite a juggling act, yes? Define family because there are many, many different versions of family these days. So make sure you go through these. And remember what I always say, that we always take our own life experiences and then turn those into truths and project them onto other people. Perfectly natural. So make sure you go through this and understand that there are people who have very, very different types of families than you do, and that does not devalue them. They still have a family that matters to them. Again, we used to define family as married with children, or maybe divorced, or separated, or widowed, remarried, but now there's just so many different types of families out there, so make sure you go through all those. Let's see. Singleism. Is there bias in the workplace as the workplace becomes more focused on understanding work-family balance because in the past, the work and the family sphere were mutually exclusive. When you were at work, you were at work. And what that means is, generally speaking, when we look to the past, it was the man who was the breadwinner, and the woman stayed home and took care of the family sphere. Therefore, the two were separated. And that's no longer true. So, when we start looking at bias in the workplace as companies have to become aware that people do have families and they have to allow for family time, there has been the accusation made by singles that they are being discriminated against. So please take into consideration when we start talking about work-family diversity that we have to include singles. Okay, make sure you're familiar with the optimistic and the pessimistic view. These are incredibly simple little views. You'll read about them in your book. One means it's good. One means it's bad. You can't do it all, so don't even try type of thing. So just take a quick look at those in your textbooks. Very, very simple theories. Looking at work-family conflict, when the pressure results from work, it can affect your behavior in the family and vice versa. Okay, again, just go through this in your book. I do want you to be very careful that you can define time-based and strain-based and behavior-based conflict, okay? You are going to see those on the quiz, and they're also very important in your life, so make sure you know about them. Make sure you know about social support and what is tangible and intangible. Okay, again, very important in everyone's life, whether they have children or not. Okay, you can go through all these. Make sure that you know about segmenters and integrators. Okay, pretty simple stuff in this chapter. Do you like this lecture? I know that a lot of you have been saying that there's just too much work and I have so much to do, so just cruise through here. Make sure you read it all, go through it in your textbook, and we're all going to be fine. I do want you to take a few minutes and define your own meaning of success. Success used to mean money, things, possessions, and I think the vast majority of us now define success very differently. And the definition of success is different for every single person, and it is something that you need to think about and define for yourself, and know that your definition of success will change over the years. There are sex differences in the idea of success. I'm sure that doesn't shock you at all. All right, pretty straightforward chapter. There's nothing particularly complicated, so please make sure you just read it. Go through all these slides along with your textbook and you'll be fine. I'm going to write your quiz, and then before I release it, I'll give you like a little study guide if I forget, because you know what? This particular time of the semester is also very stressful for me. So if I forget, just give me a quick nudge and say, remember that study guide? Yeah, it's time for me to practice one of my own work-family balance strategies and make a note to myself right now to do that. I want you to go to your personal forum and just post me a thread with a subject line that says relax, because that's what I want you to do. We're almost there. You have to finish off your research paper, but you've had a really long time to work on it, so I hope that you're almost done with it because it is coming due. On the week of Thanksgiving, your only assignment is to post your thankfulness post, which I hope you've already written. If you haven't, it's going to take you about 5 minutes. Whip it out right now. Just stop. Just type it up and save it so that you can post it on the proper week. Okay? You have left this week a Chapter 7 quiz, and then you're going to eventually get your Chapter 8 and your Chapter 9 quizzes. Your final exam, of course, and our last case study. And the last case study had, what, 3 questions and really big teams and just making a PowerPoint. So it really is winding down. I really want you to relax, not get too stressed out. We're almost there. I want you to remember in this week's discussion board to not denigrate somebody or, you know, devalue them because they don't have children yet. I remember when I was single, I worked full-time and went to school full-time. And that was really, really stressful, as you can well imagine. So just remember, even though someone doesn't have children, it could still be super stressful for them. And isn't it funny now, at times in your life you thought were so stressful, and then, you know, 10 years later you look back and realize, oh, I didn't know what stress was. So just be nice, be kind, and remember that things can be super stressful, whether or not you have children. We have a student in our class who moved away from home for the first time and is working on a professional sports career while going to school. There's some serious stress there. Serious stress of trying to meet all those expectations. We have a student in the class who just had a baby and is going to school and trying to take care of a family, and there's incredible stress there. There's so much going on in everybody's lives that I just want you to remember, and you guys are so good in our discussion board about always being nice to each other, and you just don't know how much I appreciate that. But just remember that everybody can have stress in their lives, and just because you're young, or maybe you don't have kids yet, or maybe your kids have moved out, that doesn't mean that you don't have stress going to school. Because you know what? You know, I have a daughter in high school, and she doesn't work because she has sports. And you know what? It's really stressful for her too. I mean, what you're going through when you're going to school is always stressful. So just remember that in this week's discussion board, and I know you guys will do it. You're wonderful. You're always good to each other. So that's it. That's your whole lecture. Are you excited? It's the shortest one you've ever had. So just make sure you do go post, relax, so you'll get your points. Make sure you read through the PowerPoint presentation along with your textbook, and this chapter will be a snap.